Hi guys, welcome to my video. Today I'm going to show you how to make your makeup defeat school air. So it looks like this at the beginning of the day and this at the end of the day. No patching, no separating, no smudging, and this is with no touch-ups. I'm giving you all the secrets, okay? No gatekeeping. So let's get into it. One of the most important steps is skin prep. You can't apply makeup to dry, crusty skin and then wonder why it's not lasting. Skin needs to be hydrated. First, you're going to go in with a toner that's slightly exfoliating. This is going to get the dead skin cells off of your face, and it's going to help so that it doesn't mix with the makeup. You don't get any patching, separating, or anything like that. You can use pads, but your fingers are also just as good. Always make sure to really rub the product in where my oily parts are. So my T-zone and my chin. These parts are a little bit more oily. You really got to get in there and make sure it's properly being exfoliated. The foundation doesn't end up clinging to any dry spots. To make sure my skin is really getting hydrated, I always add a spritz of water before I go in with the next step. And that's a serum. You only need a little bit of it. It's supposed to be very hydrating. So in your skin prep routine, most of it should just be focused on hydrating. You don't need anything with a bunch of acids in it. We're just trying to hydrate the skin. The serum just adds a little bit more of that extra boost, which is why I love using it. Again, make sure to spray some water on your face and we'll go in with moisturizer. This is just going to seal in all of that hydration and give your skin a good base for the foundation. This is always a controversial discussion, but I am not a primer girl. I personally don't think you need primers. I think if you have a good skin prep routine, that's enough. So you will not be seeing me use a primer in this video. Lastly, you should always be wearing sunscreen if you're going to be going outside, so make sure to incorporate it into your routine. Now that our skin is nice and prepped, we can go in with foundation. I always say that long-lasting makeup comes from good skin prep and good quality products. You want to use a foundation that is going to last long. Foundations are not made the same, so you want to get a good, solid quality foundation. Highly recommend this one from Estee Lauder. It's a favorite one in the community for a reason. You put this foundation on, it is not moving. Another issue people experience when it comes to long-lasting makeup is the foundation starts patching or separating. Actually, a lot of times this happens because you're just not using enough. And I know you're scared because you don't want the makeup to look cakey, but you gotta put the makeup on. The way I see it is when you're using such a thin layer across your entire face, it ends up mixing with your skin's natural oils quicker, which causes the patchiness. If you're going a little bit heavier and you have layers on your skin, it's gonna take a little bit longer for that oil to really mix in with your makeup, meaning you're not gonna get that patchiness and separation so quickly, and it'll last through the entire day while still looking good. Really put that product on. Do not be scared. Highly recommend using dense brushes like a flat dense brush or a kakibuki brush so you can get the best finish. Also note the technique I'm doing with my under eyes. I'm initially applying the foundation underneath away from where my eye lines are. Then I'm going over very lightly with the bigger brush to blend it out. This is so I don't get a whole lot of excess product sitting all in my eye lines, which will cause even more creasing. When it comes to blush, I always recommend using a cream or liquid. As we're going to be going back with powder blush later, layering it on top of a cream blush will really help the longevity. Same goes with highlighter. Using a liquid highlighter before using a powder highlighter is really going to make sure the highlighter stays on all day and it does not fade. Let's talk about creasing under eyes. See how you can visibly see the product sitting in my lines? We do not want this, so you're going to take off a little bit of that excess with your finger, just a little bit, very lightly. Then ever so lightly take your brush and just blend it out so it's no smudging. And you're not adding product, you're just lightly blending it out so it's nice and even. See the difference in my under eyes? This is how it should be looking before you go in with powder, with no creases. Powder is very important for long-lasting makeup, okay? It is such a big deal. You're gonna go in with a loose powder on a very dense brush and completely beat your under eyes, going up to where your under eye lines are. Make sure you're looking up the entire time so you don't get any more creases. Really go in with that powder. Do not be scared to go heavy. Now the initial set is done, but this is what's going to set it all off. Do not skip this step. Take a little bit more of that powder and leave the excess under your eyes, baking. Doing this is going to make sure that everything is completely set. Like I promise you, your under eyes are going to be bulletproof, no creasing through the entire day. Also want to note that the powder you use is really important. You want to use a powder that's not too light. It should have a little bit of density to it. That powder is going to give you the best blurring finish and the long wear. You're also going to want to do a light set on the rest of your face. I don't add much product to the rest of my face, so I don't need that much powder, but it depends. For my brows, I keep it very simple and I mostly use powder-based products. That means 9 out of 10 I'm using eyeshadow. A lot of us, our eyebrows are generally more of an oily area. I prefer using powder-based products instead of creamy pencils and creamy pens because that can easily smudge. And I also love how eyeshadow blends really easily. So overall, eyeshadow is the better choice for me. Though I do go over it very lightly with a brow pen, which is not very heavy, and as you can see, it's not the base for the color. I use this just to add some hair-like strokes into the brows and makes it look more more natural. And lastly, I use a very strong brow gel to hold it in place. I'm telling you, this one is like glue. This will keep your brows in place all day so you won't have any stray hairs going all over the place. A little bit goes a long way and it gives it such a clean look. So now that the powder has sat under our eyes for a minute, we're just gonna go over and blend it out, really beating it into our skin. I'm not wiping it off, just pressing it into the skin. If you're someone like me who has super oily eyelids and struggles with creasing, you're gonna wanna do this. Take a pressed powder the color of your skin tone or an eyeshadow, and you're gonna use this as your base for your eyes. This is going to cover up the hyperpigmentation and even out your skin tone on your eyelids without you using a concealer or a foundation and getting all that creasing. I also like to bring it down to my under eyes too so that everything is covered. I'm using a lot of powders, so to make sure that it doesn't get cakey, I'm just going to spray some water over it. You could use a skincare mist to do this. You could even use a setting spray, but really water works just as well. This is just to melt the powders into the skin so that it doesn't get too cakey. Now back to blush. Like I said, we're going to be layering the blush, and this is how I get it to last all day. If you feel like you add enough blush, add some more. Blush is actually one of the first makeup products on our face to fade away, so you really want to go heavy with it. That's why I layer the blushes, one for color reasons and also because the longevity is just unmatched. Just like the foundation, I really recommend using dense brushes to make sure the blush is really getting into the foundation, not just sitting on top of it, because if it's just sitting on top, it'll fade a lot easier. Now let's get into the eye makeup, mostly the egg yolk style. This is what I see a lot of people struggle with. First, make sure that your under eyes are completely covered in powder. You do not want any wet spots. Remember, we went over with a loose powder, then a pressed powder, then powder blush, and now eyeshadow. Like, the powder is really packed on there, and this is going to help with smudging. Start off, we're just going to be using eyeshadow. No pens, no creams, no liquids, just good old eyeshadow. But to make sure that the powder doesn't just smudge or blend away, you really want to make sure you're going heavy with the product. You can see I'm not blending it into nothingness. I'm really stamping that on. Because you're really stamping it on, it's not going to blend and smudge so quickly. Better to have it be a little bit heavy in the beginning because throughout the day it is slowly going to fade. Versus if you started out with something already light, so then when it starts to fade, you're going to be left with nothing. So go heavy on the eye makeup. Do not be scared to put the makeup on. Again, I'm going to keep repeating it because it really applies to everything. Dense brushes are going to be your best friend. Put down the big blending brushes, pick up a defined flat brush. Now that we've done the base with eyeshadow, we can really get into the layering. If you want your egg yolk style makeup to last all day, use cream eyeshadow. I'm going to use a cream eyeshadow stick and put this right on top of the highlight. Because it's a cream, it's really going to stick to your skin. Because we used all those powders underneath, you're not going to get any creasing. So if you do this, your egg yolk style makeup is not going to move. You can also use something like a pot concealer to get the same effect. It works just as well. Then to make sure you're setting the cream in place, you're going to go over on top again with the powder eyeshadow. This is just again to set it and prevent any sort of smudging. So now your egg yolk style makeup is basically bulletproof. I was focused mostly on the highlight, but for the lash line contour, we're going to take our brow pen and go over on top. Brow pen does the same thing as the cream eyeshadow. It just solidifies it and really sets it in place. You could also use a cream stick for this too. I just like how the brow pen is very defined. Don't do anything on the actual contour part of the egg yolk style makeup because I feel like the eyeshadow is good enough. Eyeliner is pretty simple. You just want to use a good quality solid liquid liner. I don't have any trick for getting my eyeliner to last all day. I feel like it's just if the eyeliner is good quality, it will last all day and it won't smudge. I recommend this one from KVD though. It's a favorite for a reason. A lot of people love it because it lasts a long time. Although one little thing I do like to do, because our eyes get teary very easily in the outer corner and it smudges the eyeliner and messes it all up, going with a little bit of powder right on that corner will just help. The powder will help to block the smudging and everything, so it just keeps it more locked in. For lashes, the glue is really the main star. You gotta get a good one. I really love the Duo Blue Lash Glue. This one always works so well and it lasts through literally everything. Now we're coming back to the blush to finish it off. Again, all these different powder blushes I'm using just really helps with the longevity. I'm not saying you have to use 4 different blushes, but you know, using more than one will definitely help, especially with that combo of the cream / liquid blush. Plus the fact that it's an actual powder blush means it's going to add on to helping the foundation last longer because it is a powder. Powders are going to be your best friend, so always keep that in mind. And pause, let's just look at how good my base makeup is looking. Like, this is what we want. Glitter, I absolutely love using gel and liquid ones. It's going to stick to your skin a lot better than a powder, so you're not going to have to deal with fallout and all that, and it's going to last the entire day. For powder highlighter, my biggest tip would be making sure you're using a lot, just like blush. Highlighter is super thin and lightweight, so it can easily fade away, so that's why I think it's much better to just go a little bit heavier with it so it'll last longer. I'm not very specific with the highlighters that I use, to be honest. This is from the eyeshadow palette, but I use a good amount, and again, I have a lot of powder on, so it really helps to stay on. If you're someone like me who loves glitter, again, using a gel or liquid glitter will be the best if you want to put it on your face versus like a powder. It sticks on perfectly. Now lastly, the lip combo. You guys know I use a lot of lip products even when I go to school. First tip is always start off on matte lips, not glossy. That means no lip mask, no lip oil. You don't want it to be so slippery on the first go. Wearing products on something that can easily wipe off is not the best. Second, use a very strong tint. I love this one from Daystick. This is the best staining K-beauty lip tint I own. You want the best stain, so then once you're done eating, drinking, you're still going to be left with a nice little tint of color. Lastly, when it comes to lip gloss, I definitely recommend using a thick, sticky one. You don't want something that's super watery and thin, because trust me, that's going to slide off of your lips immediately. Something that's nice and thick with a little bit of stick will make sure that it really sticks to your lips. Keep in mind that gloss will always transfer because it's a gloss, but you can keep that glossiness on your lips for a good amount of time. And that's the end of the routine. Oh wait, I know you're thinking, Sky, what about setting spray? Just like I explained with the primer thing, I'm not the biggest fan of setting spray. I don't think you need it. I don't use setting spray and my makeup is fine. Same for many other people. My opinion, skin prep and the quality of the products you use are the most important, not setting spray. But if you like setting spray and you feel like it works wonders for you, then keep using it. It's just not something I incorporate into my routine. My makeup still lasts all day without it. Anyways, yes, that's a routine for long-lasting, school air defeating makeup. Just so y'all can see, because I have receipts. Here's my makeup before school, my makeup at school, and then my makeup at the end of school after like 8 hours. This is actually with no touching up. The only thing I touched up was my lips. As you can see, everything looks great. I really hope this video helped. Make sure to like and subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!